Hello, good people. Today, I'm really mad because I'm making a video about something that's so ridiculous that it makes me mad every time I observe or speak on it. And on top of that, I have a layer of angry because I really want to know why no one is talking about this rapidly growing, dangerously ridiculous driving behavior. We'll get into it in a moment. Imagine this. Swinging left to turn right and swinging right to turn left. If there's no potholes on or other obstruction, why in the world would a regular passenger vehicle, van, or pickup truck need to be maneuvered in that way? Those drivers are placing their vehicles into the lanes occupied by other vehicles, not with the intent of switching lanes or passing another vehicle, but they're momentarily, and sometimes those moments are long, but they're momentarily driving in two lanes. Their vehicle is driving equally on the left side and the right side of the lane divider line. Sounds familiar? Have you seen this nuttiness? Now I'm describing that's a vehicle that's about to turn left or a vehicle that's about to turn right. Now, allow me to take you back a few years, back when I first observed something like this. I might have seen it once every 4 or 5 years. I remember when I first observed a driver who swung his little bitty car to the left before making a right turn. This was back in 1998, I believe. He didn't do it for a left turn. In other words, he didn't swing into the lane to the right of the left turn lane as he was making the left turn. But I happened to be going the same way and observed him swing into the left lane as he was making a right turn. I saw him do this for 2 right turns. My first thought was that he was a semi-truck driver that forgot he wasn't in his truck. Anyway, we wound up at the same gas station. I was at the pump directly behind him. As my car was filling up, I approached him and asked him if he was a semi-truck driver. He said he was, and how did I know? I told him it was a lucky guess based on how I observed him making those right turns. He laughed and said, oh yeah, I do have to stop myself from doing that once in a while. Sometimes I forget I don't have an extra 53 feet trailing behind me. Now, that was years ago now. But I'd have to say in the last 5 years, I've seen drivers drive like this. No, way worse than this. But I see it all the time now. Every single day. If I drive 20 miles, I'll see probably 5 or 6 drivers driving like this. There's absolutely no reason to dip into another driver's lane to make your turn. I live in Illinois, and maybe it's just an Illinois thing. The fact that no one is talking about this strange, ridiculous phenomena got me to wondering if I'd missed anything by way of new traffic laws. I've seen police officers turning in this ultra ridiculous manner. So I searched up the rules of the road and also an Illinois statute regarding traffic turns. So regarding right turns, and according to the Illinois rules of the road, it says to follow the general curve of the curb while making the right turn. Stay as close as possible to the curb. Now, I don't think that's hard to understand at all. It's exactly the way I was taught to drive back in high school, and I'm sure that every high school student is learning it the same way. So nothing has changed there. But when I looked at the Illinois statute, 625 ILCS 511-801 section blah, 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 this is what it says about a right turn. Both the approach for a right turn and a right turn shall be made as close as practical to the right-hand curb or the edge of the roadway. You see, it's really simple, and that bolsters what the Illinois Rules of the Road book says, and this is the Illinois driving statute. But please note that this says shall be made. Now that's an edict, an official proclamation from the traffic gods. This is the way the turn shall be made. It's not a suggestion, not at all. I would never disobey an edict for fear of being beheaded or something. Now, as for left turns, the Rules of the Road says to point the wheels straight ahead until starting to make the turn. Also, the way I learned in high school, and it's still required by law. You will fail the Illinois driving exam if you do not follow these rules while turning. It explicitly states that. You will automatically fail the exam if you commit any traffic violation or any dangerous action while taking the exam. So people who drive in this ridiculous manner would not be able to pass the driving test, because this method of driving commits traffic violations and is in the category of a dangerous action. And another thing I almost forgot to mention. These aren't brand new teenage drivers. These are people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. I can only guess how this nonsense proliferated. Maybe it looks cool to drive that extra 6 to 8 feet to make a turn, swinging your car recklessly into next over lane of traffic in order to turn the opposite way. But they see people doing it and decided to do it as well. Now this created a trend, and so other drivers, not wanting to be left out, started doing it as well. This is akin to wildebeests on the road. You know, wildebeests are famous for just following the herd blindly. If one wildebeest walks off a cliff, then the other 100 or so wildebeest will walk off as well, plunging to their deaths. One right after the other, right after the other. And I'm afraid whenever I'm driving next to someone who's about to make a turn, because if it's one of these wildebeest drivers, they'll just swing left into my lane if they're turning right, or they'll swing right into my lane if they're turning left. So I find I have to make sure I can swing out of their way without hitting another driver on the road. And that brings me to another point. Turn signals. It's the easiest thing to do while driving. Most of the time, all you need to do is reach out your pinky finger to use the turn signal. It's that easy. But I guess drivers have decided that since they know what they want to do, you don't really need to know. My opinion is you use your turn signal at all times. Even if it's 3 a.m. in the morning and you see no one else on the road. Just because you don't see anyone doesn't mean there's no one there. Maybe you just don't see them. Your turn signal is part of the whole road puzzle. People need to know your intentions before you execute said intentions. That's why you don't just put on a turn signal as you're turning or changing lanes. You do it several seconds before you're about to make that move. Doesn't that make sense? It makes sense to me. You signal prior to the lane change or your turn. People need to know what you're about to do more so than what you're doing. At some point, I can see what you're doing, but let me know prior so I can make adjustments or maybe not do what I was intending to do, like speed up in order to pass, and in doing so, crash directly into you because you're suddenly in my lane directly in front of me. And what about that driver who could help you cross the street if he just let you know he's about to turn? The other side of the road is finally clear, but you still can't cross because there's just one more car approaching on this side. You might be able to make it across once he passes because the traffic on the other side is stopped at the light. The approaching driver sees you because you're just on the other side of the corner that he's now about to turn into. Why didn't he just put on a turn signal? If for no other reason than to let you know that you can safely cross the street. Because he won't be driving past you. But too late now. It's too busy again on the other side. Can anybody tell me why people do that? You see, not every pedestrian has been a driver, but every driver has been a pedestrian. And you know why that person hasn't crossed yet. They're waiting for you to pass them. Would it be so much trouble to give them a turn signal so they can cross? And this goes for drivers trying to cross traffic as well. If you knew this person was going to turn and not drive past you, you would have turned and not been stuck trying to exit that restaurant driveway or whatever. Come on, people. The rules are very simple to follow. You've probably been driving for years. Don't suddenly become a hazard to me, yourself, and everyone else on the road because you want to change from common sense driving to what you now perceive as a cool way to maneuver your vehicle. So today, I'm making my own edict. You shall cut it out. This is Lee. And I like to make this disclaimer. I'm not a trafficologist. I'm not a road psychologist or driver instructor. I claim no expertise in anything. I'm just a dude. And this is my opinion. Please share your opinions in the comments section below. So like this video, share this video, subscribe, and please revisit Peeves and Opinions. And until next time, good people, please remember, only some of us have peeves, but we all have opinions.